If I welcome the clarification that we're looking to take forward interpretation of Article 8 from the Home Secretary today, and can I seek confirmation that we won't shy away from further clarifications like the one announced today, where the EHRC try and get in the way of the action we know we need to take to provide the border security our country is crying out for.
My honourable friend is right to talk about the international law and ECHR being part of the reasons that we've been able to get international agreements, because other countries know that we will abide by international law. That is how we have got the French pilot in place in the first place, something that the previous government was repeatedly unable to do. But the way in which it is interpreted is significant and does need to keep up to date. We have the challenge around Article 8 and family cases, that far too many cases are being treated as exceptions to the rules rather than according to the rules that Parliament has set. We think the rules need to change in order to be able to address that, and we need to work through different changes to the way in which Article 8 in particular is interpreted as part of our immigration and asylum system, and we will set out more details on that as part of our asylum reform package that we will set out later this year.
Willie Anderson. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Every time the Home Secretary announces a new policy on illegal migration actually goes up. I think a period of silence would be most welcome from the Home Secretary. But does she agree with me that the only way to stop the pull factor is to detain, deport, and never allow these illegal migrants to spend time in this country? Yes.
Well, the pilot scheme we have agreed with France involves being able to detain people on arrival in Dover for the first time, something that's not happened before, and then to be able to return them to France, to the place where the boats set off from. This is something that previous governments, including the governments that he supported and was part of, were unable to agree and unable to achieve. And we have increased returns of failed asylum seekers by nearly 30% just since the election alone, because we believe that the rules need to be enforced and also that returns need to be increased as well. The problem with his party's approach is, frankly, he sounds a lot like the last Tory government's promises, grand promises that totally failed. They're just rehashing the same chaotic promises without ever being able to provide the detail of how they would make any of their policies work. The British way is to roll up our sleeves and to do things in a practical way, to increase returns and to sort the problems out.
Jim Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In the Home Secretary's statement, she has stated that she will never seek to stir up chaos, hatred and division. Yes, that's what we've seen this summer, with the far right emboldened because of racism and demonisation in the media and from politicians. And instead of scapegoating refugees and asylum seekers, maybe the Home Secretary needs to be thinking about more humane policies, including safe routes, employment, and right to remain. So can you explain whether these policies have and will be considered?
Well, I say, is part of the French pilot scheme involves people who apply lawfully to come to the UK and go through proper security checks, being able to do so on one-for-one basis with those being returned who have arrived on dangerous small boats in the hands of criminal gangs. We've also set out, as part of the statement I've just made, our intention to have a permanent framework for refugee students to be able to come to the UK rather than the ad hoc approach that we are currently applying to Gaza students, but we think there needs to be a more systematic approach as well as the captain-controlled approaches to other refugee work programmes